Okay.
Freeze. Freeze.
That's, you can do that next
I
year.
know you can only do that on election.
Okay, so we'll get this going at 6:34. We'll have Jacob just call roll real quick for the record.
Jennifer Salmonson,
Present.
Kevin Nielsen,
Present.
Kevin Wheelock.
Here.
David Hershey,
Here.
Trevor Chadwick.
Here. So tonight, we're just, it's a workshop on our budget. I know, yes.
Mayor Chadwick, I believe we need to call out that Jennifer Salmonson's
Oh,
presence is online.
Yeah.
yes, correct. Thank you. Miss Jennifer Solomonson's presence is online. Kevin already called it out.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. So tonight we're gonna just go over the budget again. It's a workshop. Next week is our budget hearing. It's been published with this dollar amount on the bottom. And as a reminder, no decisions could be made tonight, but we can have discussion. And then next week, the only thing you could do is reduce the number. We can't increase the number. Cannot increase the number. Right, or a penny. Okay? I sent you guys, I know it was a little late, but I sent you an L2 calculator worksheet that came from Ada County clerk's office, I think, right? Yeah, Ada County clerk's office. It kind of shows you, you got that, Ryan? Up? You do.
That's right here.
It's here, I'll show it right here too. Kevin, if you want to just look here. Yeah, we could turn them down just a little bit. That'll work. This provides information on the L2, which is what is how much you can increase your taxes by. And it has oops, I'm hitting the wrong button on my own computer.
You're all good.
Yeah. Oh, what is this? Oh, I'm hitting. I need my IT guy next door to me here to tell me, hey, you're doing it all wrong.
Oh, the L.
Let's do this. Oh, it's already to the front. But this talks about how much you can increase your budget by. They figure it all out on a county level for you based on your valuations and whatnot with that new House Bill 389. And so if we go over to Star on here, it shows us, it gives you the Ada County's new construction, Canyon County's new construction values, the total new construction, maximum non-exempt property tax budget increase that cannot exceed that number, the 1,734,000. And then you have some replacement money in there in our foregone. And so you take the replacement money out and our maximum amount is $1,730,572. So that's what we can increase our budget by, all with new construction this year. Nothing adding the 3% like we did last year. So when you look on the page on the top, we are increasing that, and we have to do that every year with the House Bill 389 in there. We need to always increase it by as much of the new construction. Yeah,
Right to the limit.
yeah, because that foregone, remember, we can't use that foregone but 1% at a time if we're not at the 8%. So we can't even touch that right now. Okay?
So you have to be at the 8% to even bother with your foregone?
You have to be below
Below. I don't, the
8%.
foregone though, that's something we
Because
don't
you
want to take.
no, well, you don't, because it'll add taxes to everybody.
That's what I mean.
That's the way House Bill 389 reads on there. That's the problem. Before we could have took all 600,000 if we wanted to, and it would have added.
And only 66,000 is available anyway.
Yeah, ours, yes, 1%. 10%, 1% would be 6,000. 6,000 would have been available.
$6,000.
Yeah.
Not enough to fuel the lawnmowers for the year.
Nope, not at all.
Great.
So that's this worksheet. You can see all the different taxing districts are on here if you're ever interested in looking at it. Do you have any questions, Miss Jennifer? Are you still there?
I'm still here. Looks good. Thank you. I'm following.
Sewer and water, Starfire, everything that we get taxed in Ada County is on this sheet, right? Okay? All right, moving on. So then when we go to the item 2 on this one, Ryan, on the revenue side, I'm sorry, income side. Item 2, revenue sharing, the $1.355 million is the amount that it comes from the AIC in their budget manual that tells us what we're going to get from the sales tax revenue. So that increased obviously with the amount, with our population growth, okay? Liquor revenue, they give us a number, and I added they give us last year's number. And then I added 9% to that number on there to show $129,000 from liquor revenue. Franchise fees, obviously we get franchise fees from power, cable, natural gas, and waste management. This number may go up possibly because we're in the process of verifying that all these entities have everything shown in their, I don't know if do they use GIS, Jacob?
So yeah, so when we do an annexation, we send them a list of addresses, and when they connect into the power grid,
Yeah.
they're automatically there on the power side. And we do transfer over to waste management or transmit, I believe, over there. Cable and natural gas, I need to double check with Meredith, make sure that those are going.
Right. And waste management, we get 7% actually on those guys. That's a high number in franchise fees, but we all pay it. You see it on your bill. It says franchise fees, right, on there. Licensing, dog licenses, we're starting to see increases in that. And as we grow, I see people coming in on that, getting the licenses done, which is nice. Because we really want that number to be equal to what we're paying Sarvet to offset that.
Correct,
Technically,
which is not there yet.
it's not there even close because it's like 16,000 is what we pay Sarvet. Vendors licenses, alcohol beverage licenses, park reservations and rentals. So this would be park reservations and rentals at the River House will be on here. Hometown celebration, I'm sorry, scholarships, we just left that 6,000. That's the money that the kids raise on there. And they have been very active, which is awesome in raising funds. I think, what'd you say, Dana, that they raised at the hometown? Like 7,000 this year. So that was good on that part, right? Hometown celebration, $65,000 in income this year. That's Dana looks at me, but it's a lot of pressure to get the sponsorships there, but we got 70,000 or so this year in sponsorships, right? But who knows what the economy holds this next year. This Parks and Pathways grant, we applied for a grant for the Parks and Pathways. And did you see this, Jennifer, the email on that today?
I did.
So
Yeah.
we were not selected for this grant right now, but that doesn't mean we're done. I think we continue to try. They'll probably come out with more. And what we were going to do with this grant was help with the pathway to the middle school with that. But so you guys, next week we can move it or we can leave it here for us to try to go get another grant out there for that pathway.
Yeah.
Okay. What'd you say, Jennifer? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we can't get it through the one that we applied for, then I think we should try through another avenue for a grant.
I think there was like 90, I think, and we're like 65 and they only gave like 45, something like that in there. I can't remember exactly, but they had $10 million pool that they spread out amongst all these different areas in the state. The ARPA funds, we're removing that because we collected our second round of the ARPA funds. We won't be getting any more of that. Transportation planning grant. We do have a grant request in there to do that downtown parking study. So we're going to leave that in there at 45,000. Court fines. This is a hit and miss. I don't know. I mean, if you're criminal, I guess we need Detective Steele to get more court fines if we want that to increase, right? Yeah, no, that's even better for us if it's not high. That means we're doing pretty good here in our community, right? Building fees. We're basing everything again off of 500 permits. I know we've talked about doing the cap, but we haven't done that yet. If we do the cap, we could come back and revisit this and adjust it as necessary, right? But right now we'll base it on 500 permits. We're on track this year for 700 and something. I think it's 720 or 730, I believe. However, folks like Corey Barton has pulled back and others have pulled back on pulling permits. So you're probably going to see a natural direction. Because we're not going to get out. 8% for what?
House Bill 389 says, oh, never mind. How do you want to?
So the 8%. So no, we're not going to get. Well, with the 700, you mean the 7? Yeah, that's part of the reason why. Yes, we are. But if depends on what the BCA and those guys come back with as far as a solution, we'll see what happens there.
So shouldn't we budget this closer to the actual that we think we're gonna get? Because I don't know what solution they have.
I don't either, but I think we're gonna hit, if we don't put anything in place, it's gonna be probably around 500, is my guess.
If they pull back from the 700 we've done this year and we still land at 500.
Right.
Mayor, I think the question the Councilman Hershey's asking is if we budget for an 8% increase, but we don't get an 8% increase. You know, if our if growth is actually less than 8%, then
More also.
well, you can't
Well-
take any more, but what if growth is less than 8%? Is there a penalty or is there a problem with that? And
I don't think so.
I don't think that there is. I mean, you can only
No.
budget based on
Correct. And we would adjust
That would happen for the following
The next
fiscal year.
following year. Yeah. And we'll adjust our expenses accordingly as we track it throughout the year, right? On there.
right. So I think we're a year ahead, really. And if we have growth less than 8%, well, then that's good because that means growth paid for itself that year.
That's what I'm worried about. So if we go 500 permits, that's saying we are gonna go above our growth cap.
Right. But we don't have a growth cap in place.
No, I'm just saying generally,
Well,
So-
generally, well,
because of the House bill.
right. What we're saying is with 500 permits, we need 1.5 officers. Basically, right? But we can only finance and fund one officer with the next year's 8%.
All right, I'm just
So we'll be
saying.
Half an officer behind.
we'll be a half an officer behind if the BCA doesn't come back with a solution that help fund the officers that we need, right? That's what we're looking for. If they don't have it, then we could always come back and adjust it to 370 to stay at the 8% if we need to. So we're not getting way behind.
Okay, so we're passing it now at 500 just
Right.
because 500 is a nice number. But if they don't come up with something, we're reopening this and taking it
We can
down.
make an adjustments. Yeah, we
Have
have that.
to.
right. We can make an adjustment in the year.
Have to.
You can always come
But
down.
that means we
in the
adjust
year.
everything,
I know.
right? I mean,
It
there's a
won't
lot
be
of
fun.
adjustments. So the
So-
building,
Sorry.
yes, Jennifer, sorry, I
uh,
forget you're up there.
No, that's okay. So did we change the inspection fees, the building fees, with that rate fee schedule that we
We did.
adopted? And so, I mean, if we have the same numbers as last year.
Sorry, we did not. Actually, we didn't change all those fees. Ryan's telling me.
Okay, okay. So the fees that we changed were more for the but like
Correct. We
the,
changed, Ryan just said we changed one electrical fee.
These are pass-throughs anyway, land use.
Yeah. Did that answer your question? I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
yeah, no, so but are they all truly pass-through fees? I thought we collected.
No, we keep 40%. Well, on the building side, up to $100,000, 60% gets paid to the inspector. Anything over 100,000 is 40%, and we keep the other 60.
Yeah, okay,
On the electrical, plumbing and mechanical fees, the inspectors get 60% and we keep the other 40. The
Okay.
reinspection, do they get all of it, Ryan?
Need to double check.
I can't remember on the reinspection, they might get a 100% of the reinspection on there.
I think it's still a split. I'll just check.
I just wanted
So-
to, oh, go ahead, Jen.
so the fees are the same as last year, except for the electrical possibly changed?
No,
that
the electrical, we didn't change all electrical. I think it was just
Just one fee.
one fee in the electrical process, and that's on the solar panels? Pools. It's on the
Pools
pools.
and hot tubs.
Pools and hot
Oh,
tubs.
okay, so it'll be a minor difference.
Right, it'll be small.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
Okay, Kevin, sorry.
I just wanted to circle back on, I don't think I understood, Councilman Hershey. You were saying we're going to have to open the budget. Hold on. Well, just so other people understand the context, because I know you and I are on the same page, but you said that we're going to have to reduce or open the budget again if building permits are lower than anticipated. I just want to understand why we would have to do that.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I've been hearing, what's our cap, 370 something?
Per one officer.
So anything above that, we're going in the negatives as in growth outgoing our income for growth. And
Growth
so
not paying for
therefore,
itself.
I am not very entertaining of that. So therefore, why even set it at 500 permits, knowing good and well that's 130 something higher than we can cover, than we can recoup or have? Why?
Well, but the 500 is set right now. If the BCA comes back with a plan to finance the police and the fire, there's no need for the cap. If they don't, then we come back and you make the adjustments to the cap. So don't blow it up yet until you make the adjustments to the cap. Don't set your, we don't have a way to, we don't have a cap. We don't have a 370 caps established as of today. Right? I know what I get what he's saying on that. Why budget for more than 370? Well, we've done that. This is what has been going on.
So let's call it a good faith budget
Correct.
and let the BCA know that we think you guys can partner with us and make this happen.
And if they don't, then we can come back and this is what he's saying, reopen the budget
Well,
and make the adjustments.
you said specifically, you don't see this happening.
I don't,
So why even entertain it?
because I'm always hopeful.
We got to entertain it because we have had we have had the meetings with them.
Mhm.
We've had the conversation, the ball's in their court. If they can't get it done, then the ball is in our court to make the change. And they're gonna have to live with the
Well,
change.
and let's face it, I don't know that we reopen the budget to change that because you can always take in less than what you budget for.
Right, and we could always adjust our
So-
expenses down.
Correct.
I mean, without, we can
I
cap.
just don't want to lose it somewhere.
Oh, we
That's
won't
what
lose
I'm
it.
Trying to do. We're
Yeah.
trying not to. End of questions. Move on.
We're aligned.
We're aligned.
Yeah, like a parallelogram.
So, so the building fees are the same. The park impact fees will be the same at 500 permits because that's what we budgeted for last year. ACHD fees will be a little bit higher, anticipating an increase in the ACHD impact fee like they do every year. They don't have a number. Won't have a number till closer to October, but that's a pass through. Star Fire fees, same. Oh, I'm sorry, ACHD fees are a little different because if we're doing 500 permits, we're expecting 50 of them to come out of Cannon County. So that's where you got 50 on the CHD4 and 450 on the ACHD. Got it? Okay. Land use admin fees, keeping the same. I know we increased it, but we don't know what this slowdown is going to do overall to, right, it's happening to the overall fee structure there. So that's where we increased them, Miss Jennifer, when we did the fee increases before.
Yep.
And then the
Okay.
bonding is a straight pass through. You never know what's going to get bonded and what's not on there. 200,000 is a guess,
Well, it's pass through too.
right? It's pass through. It goes right back to them if they don't use it. Recreation on the sports fees and the classes and activities. We're going to see an increase in those. We're seeing an increase in our participation. Miss Annie, that's in the recreation side. I think just for these summer classes has brought in like 40,000 or something like that.
Pretty significant.
Pretty
That's from us,
significant on those classes. So that's going to be combined with the other recreation stuff, which
From us
increases that
properly Using
number.
our river house too. We are.
Yeah, we're using it a lot. So,
That's
um,
actually projecting out better than we initially thought for the first couple of years, to be quite honest.
yeah. And interest rates, our interest revenue is a little bit higher. Our donations about the same, miscellaneous. The COVID run, we're going to remove. We don't need that anymore because we're not going to see any more funds, I hope, from the federal government on any of that stuff. And then we're going to transfer from our general funds $2.4 million to help pay for the Highway 44 widening while we're collecting the proportionate shares. We have, right, is it 3 or 4 million? I can't remember. Committed to the proportionate share.
I can get you a number in just a second.
So we have like 3 or 4 million committed to the
Now,
proportionate share.
that's not capped, right?
That's not capped, no.
I didn't think so.
And then we're going to transfer in from the park impact fee funds, $941,000 to help pay for some of the improvements on top of what we're already collecting. And we're going to transfer from the ITD proportionate share funds, $900,000, which we've collected to help pay for that widening from Can 80 to the Star Road. The general fund side of that coming in for Highway 44, we'll pay that back as we get the money from the proportionate share as those final plats are filed.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
We have collected 883,500, and we have 4.6 that is
Committed.
promised.
Yep. So that's quite a bit more. Oh, yes, sorry. We have $83,000 collected from proportionate share, and we have about 4.5 million committed to the proportionate share with approvals that we already have.
That's awesome.
That's quite a bit, right? That worked? Thank you.
I am surprised
I'm glad
the city
Kevin's
does
here
that.
because he's keeping me in line.
I'm the compliance guy.
He's the compliance officer today.
You're fired.
And then transfer from ARPA funds, we're transferring $500,000. The plan is to use for the police remodel over at the police station so we can move our police over there.
Over at the fire station.
I'm sorry, at the fire station.
Yeah. It's
The
gonna be
compliance
nice.
officer corrected me again. Love it.
Mr. Mayor.
Any questions on that, Jennifer, before we move on?
No, that looks good. Thank you.
Okay,
Quick question, Trevor.
back.
Does that include the parks moving,
The what?
Parks and Recreation moving down there?
No,
Okay.
no, because we have to still figure all that out and then we can discuss that as a council. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep. Okay, on the expense side, obviously the mayor and the council doesn't change. We're moving that administrative assistant to planning and zoning. On the clerk side, we are adding another clerk. We need to. We are so swimming inside our city hall right now. We did do some, we're looking at a total overall increase of 9% because of the CPI at 9.1. We did some increases already, and then this finishes out those increases of about what, 3 or 4%?
Yeah, so
Sorry.
we initially did 5.9 a month and a half ago.
Yep.
So this
Yep.
is that remainder.
And then
of
this will
that.
be.
Explain the 5,000 difference in deputy, is it, they both new deputy clerks or? I didn't,
So that, I think he's just got it. There's one deputy clerk that is data entry shared with the building department. The other one is more experienced.
I'm not worried about that. I just see the 2021 budget goes 5,000-ish less than the 2023 or more.
Oh,
I think I typoed that.
That's what hope so.
I'll verify that for next week, just so we can make sure that that's right.
Could be like.
Yeah.
hey.
Here, let me make a note on that. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it looks like it's going, it looks like you might maybe transpose them wrong, something, I don't know, but be careful when you fix it, you're gonna have to adjust some. probably
If
something
we
minimal
if
somewhere
we have
else.
to adjust, yeah. Yep.
So Mayor. you
Yes,
said
ma'am.
that the Administrative assistant was moving to a different department. Where is that?
They're going down to the planning and zoning. Planning and zoning admin assistant.
Oh, I see
Yeah, I
it.
see it right there.
Okay, thank you.
So we have the city engineer is now under the planning and zoning. We're splitting that cost with Star Sewer and Water. That saved us quite a bit of money from Keller. Sports and recreation. We have that sports recreation admin, which is Annie that we brought on. You look at her salary proposed, she already brought all that in, right?
I was gonna say that first
Herself.
salary is too low for what she
Yeah.
does.
And we could always look at it this next year too and re-open the budget.
She's worth every dollar.
Yeah.
She's
$50,000 there.
No. She's the top one. She's the admin. Yeah.
yeah, no,
The
she's-
15 are the kids that we have that come in and help out with those.
Thank you.
Yep. Building and grounds, we need to hire another grounds maintenance individual. I know there's a little discrepancy there, but that's the maximum, 44,000 if we have to, compared to the other building and grounds maintenance. Okay. And then we also brought in our custodial services in-house.
Oh, good.
Yep, so we're getting a lot more bang for our buck, basically, on that whole thing. We get our river house cleaned, our restrooms cleaned, our city halls cleaned, windows are getting washed. I mean, we're getting a whole gamut thing. I think they come upstairs too, the police, correct? Yeah, and they like it a lot up there. Oh, yeah. We get down into the employee costs.
Sorry.
Yes,
Mayor,
ma'am.
That's for the seasonal help for the building and grounds. Is that sufficient? I mean, do we need?
It is
more
sufficient because
seasonal?
we get kids in the summer that come and help us. Like right now, we have 3, I think, right now that are helping us on that
I think so.
for
Yeah.
for the summer.
Okay, and then I guess with that extra full-time employee, that will help as well.
That'll help a lot, correct?
Okay.
Yep. You what?
I'm
And we do
good.
get we get lots of free help too from the from the court system, just so you're aware.
I mean, the guys doing community service?
All the community service work, we get a lot of that here, which is
Yeah,
great.
and the Parks, Art and Beautification Committee.
And the Parks, Art and Beautification Committee, when you do your community service work for the police as well.
Right.
I'm
Well,
kidding.
that-
You
yeah.
guys do all that. You guys do
They
good.
make me do it and they sign this little card saying I did it.
We gotta check mark your hours. When we go down to employee costs, you'll notice that the health insurance increased big time.
Can't fix that.
Can't fix that. That was a direct result of COVID
Yes.
increases.
Mhm.
And IIIA tried to get a grant from the governor's office with the COVID relief funds to help offset that cost, and they refuse to do that right now. So I don't know what they're gonna do after that.
That's all the federal money the government, we got.
Yeah,
They
so
should have funded it.
they bailed out ITD and several other agencies, but they won't
Well,
touch.
Okay,
AAA.
so David brings up a good question. Can we use ARPA funds to help offset the cost of that for ourselves?
I didn't think
We
could,
can't?
but the
Okay,
state
All
government
right.
could have.
right, state government could have, correct.
But I'll look into that.
You'll check and see?
Yeah. it's
Because if we can, to help keep the cost down for those employees that have spouses and stuff on there, I'm all about that.
easy.
Do you have spouses? Do you don't do it at all, do you?
I don't think we,
do it. Okay, the grant expense is 200,000. The copy of the grant on the other side. City attorney, Chris asked just for a modest increase this year.
Denied.
Denied. He's flying somewhere, I think, so he
Yeah.
can't even hear us.
Well, I
Denied.
want him flying coach denied.
Right. Outside legal fees are the fees that were associated with the battles we have with Middleton. Ada County Prosecutor and Kennedy County Prosecutor have a little increase as well. Student scholarships are at 25,000. And we have our general office expenses that we've had every year. Our hometown celebration,
question, should that match your income on the other side?
well, not necessarily because when we're getting these donations, well, does it say hometown? I'm sorry. Let me look on the other, on the income side. It does. It should match that.
No, that's an easy fix.
Yeah, so I gotta fix that. All right. We'll have to make an adjustment. Okay.
Question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Oh, boy, sorry, the scholarships,
Yes.
a lot of that's donation, isn't it? Or some?
No, because we've always funded it out of the
That's our
city.
funding.
Except, yeah, seed money, except for when the students are able, or the Mayor's Youth Council is able to raise funds, that offsets it.
Okay, I don't mind how high it is. I think it's a great thing. I just,
This year we had 21 kids, I think, that
Like to
received
see it.
scholarships. I think. Is
it'd
that
be
right?
cool if that went higher.
Which is awesome. Yeah, because I think when your kids went through, there was only like 6 or 7 or something that went through. The word's out there, which is good. On the subscriptions and fees, we're going to remove the American Legal, which is the Sterling codifiers. We don't need them anymore because we have Muni Code. Yes, ma'am.
Are you talking to me?
2988. Okay. So I'll have to make an adjustment on that one now that they got it to us. 2988 is archive social. I got to adjust that. Are you asking us, Jennifer, if we're talking to
No,
you?
sorry. You said yes, ma'am, and I don't know who you're talking to.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Idaho Code, the Matthew Bent, the books that we get, we don't need to waste money on these books because everything's done online anymore. So we're getting rid of that one.
Look up.
Right. So we're not going to do that. And then the Vanguard cleaning, since we brought cleaning in-house, we'll remove that as well. We did add miscellaneous on the next page after that, miscellaneous software costs, like Remarkable stuff like that. We do have Adobe Acrobat and Bluebeam on there. And then we added Black Mountain, the new accounting software package, yearly cost. Okay. Professional services, the Keller and Associates, we're going to leave 10,000 in there for a backup in case Ryan gets inundated. We're probably most likely not going to use that, is my guess, this next year, because Ryan's been caught up on his stuff. But in case we have to, we'll roll some stuff in there. We'll have some backup there. We have our IT support and our transportation. if we ever use Dave Splats or somebody like that again. We haven't used them in a couple years. So professional dues, the Western Alliance is probably disbanding. Just so you guys are aware.
That's
Tina?
Tina, yeah, she's moving to
She's moving
Minnesota.
to Minnesota, you can tell that it's in my opinion, and I'm the chairman of the Western Alliance right now.
She's
And
pretty much the,
you can tell
Money
it's a struggle to get the funding. You had Canyon County completely pull out. Trying to get funding and stuff like that is hard. And so the recommendation, and we'll have a meeting, is that we're disbanding. Either way, we're not going to be part of it because I don't know if there's going to be much added value right now with them in the future. So that saves us to 9,000 on there. Well, actually, it would have been about 12,000 for the increase this year. We also removed the American Planning. I'm not sure if anybody has ever gone on the website and used it or looked at the magazines. So there's no point in doing that.
just the pictures.
You what?
It's just the pictures.
Just the pictures? Ms. Jennifer, you have sorry, I just want to make
Yeah.
sure I keep you
Nope.
going. You
You're
good?
good. Yep. Thank you.
Okay. When we get down to PR and marketing, the same thing, and public relations will keep the same. Committees, we have we increased the beautification of pathway committee. They have a bunch of plans, and I'll have Jennifer speak to those plans. Do you have that with you in your North Dakota place?
South Dakota, you'll have
Or
to
South
give-
Dakota, sorry, let's not insult you.
Much nicer. Well, it depends what part.
Right. Do you have any,
Um,
do you want to add anything to that now or next week?
I can add next week. I don't have it in front of me, but we did have specific projects that we wanted to complete this next year. And there's yeah, I can talk about it next week or at the hearing.
Okay,
Can I back us up just a touch?
sure, back us up.
Boise Chamber, do we do anything with them?
We do.
What?
So I go to the leadership conferences with them. They help promote the city as well. It's quite, I mean, I did an online deal with them as well about the city of Star.
As long as you're doing something. with
Yeah,
them.
no, I originally, when we first got on council, it was painful because I wasn't sure what we were doing because we weren't doing anything with them. But we're really active with them actually right now.
Okay, well, if it's $1,000, which
Yeah.
I don't
Councilman
think that's
Nelson?
not the Boise City Chamber,
It's the Boise Metro Chamber.
right?
oh, okay.
So it's appropriate that we're
Yeah.
a part of that.
We're
Okay.
part of
I
the
was like,
Metro.
if it was Boise City. Never mind. That was just me misunderstanding the heading there.
Yeah, and on the Mayor's Youth Council, we were increasing their budget to 5,000 because they end up purchasing items and stuff like that to sell. So they have a little bit of budget there. Yes, sir.
Let's make that change to 427, 110. Call it the Boise Metro.
I'll call it Boise Metro.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's just be really clear on that because that does read kind of funny.
So,
And sorry, Mayor Chadwick. So
yes, ma'am.
with all of those in that professional dues, they end in like, 0.10, 0.50 cents, all that. So why is it, why, like for the start?
It's $1. So they provide, it's $1 amount per population is how they do it. It could be 75 cents per person in your town is how most of these folks charge you on that. Different things like that. Is that why you're asking why we have a decimal point?
Yeah, like all of them are,
Right.
yeah, most of them have a decimal point now. And they didn't last year, so.
No.
So like that NOR FMA, NOR FMA, I mean, that went up
12.50. Yep.
Yeah. And that's because of the population change?
Well, they may be a flat percentage. Most of these are population, but theirs is like a 6% probably in there.
I think one explanation could be that last year we rounded and this year we're
not rounded.
budgeting with exact numbers.
Did you hear that, Miss Jennifer?
Yeah, I did. I don't know that the Star Chamber does it on a population, so that one that's why it caught my eye. So
Well, we can fix it. I mean, either way, it doesn't matter in the reality.
I think some of those are just like a standard percentage.
Percentage increase, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Did you have something you were going back to?
Well, I was just thinking, there goes my theory that we're getting more exact in our accounting.
Well, we're getting more exact.
Just a
Yeah,
percentage.
but
Please.
not, I mean, the,
Some of it's population based, some of it would be percentage based, most likely.
And that's not a dig at you, J-Mac.
Right. Okay, down in utilities. So on the streetlights, you will see that we put 30,000 in there so we can work on those lights on Munger. There's 7 lights that are those globes of death over there.
Oh, yes.
I actually was out there counting those today, just to make certain that there was 7 and not
Dairy
9.
Queen light to that?
No, that's a separate light. That's a historical light that we have all the way along here. Yeah,
I just.
but those guys, you guys are driven on Munger. Those poor people that live on the Craftsman side that have those, I'm sure they all bought blackout shades. They'll be surprised when they get changed.
Try to land.
It's a nice emergency landing strip.
That's right. The impact fee proportionate shares, those are pass-throughs on ACHD. Starfire, we get $20 per permit. That's why that number is different. ITD, that's the expense for the 44 widening, unless we need to put that somewhere else. Jacob,
And which one?
ITD proportionate share on 431-30, the cost to do the construction.
The 3 million.
Yeah,
So yeah, we'll create a project within the software.
within that. Okay.
And then also a revenue side for payback.
Right, and then CHD4 on those 50 units. And then the building expenses for the inspectors, that 725 is that 60-40 mix that we were talking about. And the rest of that is 60%. Recreation, for Jacob, we don't have to do sales tax on our sports and recreation programs that he found out. So for a couple of years, we were paying tax and we found out we don't have to pay tax. Okay, so that was taken out.
Horns went down. That's cool.
They went down a little bit on that because a lot of them are reused, and the cost I think that Ron has is going to be with the NFL football, NFL flag.
flag.
I think that's what it's called. They're tying in with the NFL with some of those jerseys there. So, and then some other jerseys for new people that are coming in. Instructors and counselors, you'll see that that's gone up quite significantly. We are paying them completely different per Jacob's request as our treasurer. And so they're getting paid on an hourly, I think, right, Jacob, as an employee in that section?
There's just a lot of them. There's
Yeah.
15 of them.
And with all these classes like what Annie's doing and whatnot, you have instructors and counselors and stuff in there for that as well.
Sure.
If you have a question, sorry, you look like you were gonna ask me one.
If you double the classes, you're gonna double the expenses. I mean,
Right.
Well, she's also
Works.
doubling, quadrupling the income to
Right,
cover
that's what I'm
those
saying. It's coming in.
expenses. Yeah.
coming
Make
in.
sure, is your, okay, we gotta make sure it's coming in, right? So rentals, we do have to pay rental fees and more that we're doing. Out there at the middle school and whatnot, we're starting to have to pay some fees for those. I took away the planning, we were talking about the West Star plan last year in a transportation planning. I don't think that's necessary for this year. We have a couple landowners and yet we still don't know what the results of the lawsuit's gonna be either. So why pay for something that we don't know what we're gonna be doing over there? On the buildings and grounds side of it, the only thing you see removed is the old Star City Hall remodel. What we did, we painted, roofed and windowed, and I think we did that for about 40 grand. I think it was what it ended up. So we got under budget on that, which was great. Fertilizer and seed and spray is going to go up about 25,000 and the sports, believe it or not, paint for the sports fields has gone up quite a bit
Not
this year.
surprised.
Yeah. Trash receptacles, we're gonna spend more money and order some for several of the parks instead of our wood ones. We're gonna have some metal ones out there that are more durable and permanent fixtures. Let me go down here a little bit. On the fuel, obviously, we have increased fuel costs. So we increased that on both sides. Same thing with the tires and repair because tires are more expensive in today's world. Hand tools, we reduced that because I think we have plenty of hand tools. This would just be for some replacement stuff, right? Even with adding another dude. or doodad, one of the two. Vandalism, we've had quite a bit more vandalism. Detective Steele's been all over that. Hey, he took care of several of them with a couple of kids that got arrested for that, which is great, but we still need a plan for that because we're going to have more of that, I believe.
Clock their hours.
Clock their hours. That's right. That's right. We're going to clock their hours.
Clean their clock.
Pump repair and maintenance. That's getting a little more expensive for us. And we're adding on part of our, with the dog park and that park over there, we're going to have some responsibility with that pump as well. That's shared with the reunion subdivision. Let's see, going down this bad boy, trees and shrubs. Just in case we have a die off, and those are getting more expensive on there. Playground bark. Now this one we may be getting rid of if you guys approve the synthetic over there at Lake Park in this budget. So that one is most likely going to go away, just so you're aware, if you guys approve that. Gravel for the river walk and the shop. We don't need as much this year on that. Or law enforcement. So we go down to the law enforcement category. We are adding a sergeant, plan on adding a sergeant this year and moving Zach up to the lieutenant, which is a chief too, in order to. He's already got an ego. Did you hear that, Zach? If you're listening, you already got an ego.
Just
But in order to have the sergeant, Zach has to be moved up to the lieutenant position.
Yeah.
Just so you're aware. And that will add, adding that sergeant adds an officer because they count towards our officers per thousand because they're.
so that 1752 is about what it would be.
Yep. That's exactly what it would be
Figured
with
this was
the,
the next step.
with the increases and stuff that Ada County is doing across the board.
Thank you, Ms.
Okay.
Does the sergeant come with another vehicle?
Yes, it comes with another vehicle for the sergeant and all their equipment and stuff that they need. Now, what's going to most likely happen is Zach's vehicle is going to go to the sergeant and then Zach will get an unmarked car.
You know, right
Doesn't
now,
have as
I
much.
feel like I'm 10 and I'm like playing army guys with my friends.
Are you?
I need a sergeant and a vehicle and
Sergeant and a vehicle and the guy with the mortars. I want the guy with the mortars.
always the guy with the mortars.
Okay. And just so you guys know, we're shooting, our goal is to be at 1 to 1,000 on our police, commission police, and we're about 0.8 right now. So we're behind a little bit. And part of that stuff with the BCA is for them to figure out how do we get caught up with that as well.
So you misspelled sergeant. There's an E after the G.
Well, you had to look it up.
I know. I don't know how to spell it, but I know when it's misspelled.
Did you hear that, Jennifer? He's picking on me. Will you take care of him for me, please?
I thought Kevin was in charge of correcting tonight.
That's right.
I'm a merciful compliance officer.
That's right.
It's softened.
Miscellaneous is miscellaneous for a reason. ARPA funds used, that 500,000 that we're going to use to do the police facility remodel at the fire station. Correct. Okay.
Isn't that gonna have something for our component too, or are we not moving in there?
We're not, well, there's a middle component that 500,000 is just for the police.
Okay.
Because we're going to have to discuss the Parks and Rec component going there and how we're going to take care of that. Right. And we can, if we decide that and you guys approve that, we can reopen the budget and change it.
Trying to keep Ron close to you.
That's right. That's right. So we have to listen to him laugh over here. Some
Sorry,
capital
Ron.
stuff for buildings and equipment, not a whole lot we're putting in those. And then signs, standard signs and street light repair maintenance. And talking to Mr. Jacob, our treasurer, we don't have to do a $400,000 interfund transfer like we've been doing for years. That's not necessary.
Wondered about that.
Yeah. So that is our budget at 14,396,119. And remember, only 1.730 million of that is property tax related. The rest of it's all pass-throughs or revenue coming from the state. Any questions?
Not yet. It sounds like just a few minor adjustments.
Yeah, there's a few minor adjustments. I'll update that. I'm going to do the same packet that we did last year, that we passed out and do that presentation again at the hearing next week. Jacob, most likely the layout that you see here is going to change a little bit for Black Mountain. But once we approve that, he'll fix it up in the system. Then you guys will see that where we're at with that.
So did you catch the notes, the things you're making changes to?
The what?
Did you take notes?
Yeah, I did. I wrote down on here.
And your bottom number won't change, correct?
You say again?
Your bottom number will not change.
My bottom number will not change. It cannot go up. It cannot go down until the hearing. And the hearing, it can only go down.
You got wiggle room?
We,
Not,
well,
not the cap.
well, we have some stuff in here that we can play
just
with
saying,
for
yeah.
wiggle room too, so. You guys have any questions or anything?
No, I like this.
I know we kind of went over this before, but Kevin was,
I was gone and
he was in Italy. I just
no,
wanna make
this is
sure-
very consistent with what we've done in previous years.
Yeah.
And the conversations we've had throughout the year about what's upcoming. There are no surprises in here for me. And, I'm glad that we did this because we've caught a few things
Right,
before next week. I think we're ready.
very good. Miss Jennifer?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. The only thing I would add is it would be really nice, like, do they ever compare what the actual yearly, what the actual yearly numbers are? Is in other cities?
We-
put that
Yeah,
in
we could compare, but it's not going to be entirely accurate as they're updating the Black Mountain software right now.
So Jennifer, as you can, I caught on to other cities. So
Mhm.
what we want to make sure that we stay away from is the cost to do business in Eagle is different than the cost of doing business in Star.
Right,
So-
yes.
She just wants to see the year to date where we're at on each of these sections. for
Yeah, so
Star.
that is the budget versus actuals that I'm trying to get corrected in the Black Mountain software. And then understand that your 3-digit code with the 0.77 or 0.10, that all is going to change and fall in line with the new Idaho, which I have a meeting next week on it. The new Idaho standard chart of accounts that the Secretary of State is requiring us to do.
Because it's going to be, all this stuff is going to go on the controller's website eventually
Correct.
for transparency throughout the state for every single taxing entity.
Yes.
Just so
So
you're all
you'll be
aware.
able to see that the object 110 for wages is the same here as it is in St. Mary's.
Right.
Yeah, gotcha.
So to answer your question, I'm going to do my best. I'll get that information for you. Does
Okay.
that work?
Yeah, it would just
Okay.
it would be really nice just to say, and as review, like, we planned for, these wages and this is what we actually spent. And, or for, I don't know, like all of our.
You need a budget versus actual.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what she wants is budget versus actual.
So I can come and
I
see
mean,
me
you
when
think-
you're ready.
Yeah, because it's great, to budget for all this, but are we spending more than that? Are we spending, we shouldn't be spending more, but
Well, we are spending more. We're going to have to reopen the budget because we have more permits just in the permit side. We have more park impact fees collected. We have more building inspection fees collected. There was an adjustment made to some of the salaries and stuff for
Right.
the CPI
Right.
stuff. Right. So
Right.
there will be some of that and he will have to bring it back to reopen the budget before the end of the year anyway, so we can approve it.
yeah. So that just adds to the transparency for the public, that they see that, we're spending, money wisely and not just coming up with stuff to waste their money on, because we're not.
Right. Councilman Wheelock?
So we've talked about what 386 limited us to growth,
389.
389. And it's limited us to 8%, but we're one of 12 taxing districts on our citizens, right?
Correct. Right.
Is 389 limiting all of their growth
Yes.
as well?
Every single entity is limited to 8%.
across
So
the
it
state.
across the state.
But some
Yeah,
of those
every
larger ones,
taxing
it
one.
doesn't matter.
Right. So like when you're talking the Boise and Meridian,
Except the state.
except for,
Except for the state.
okay, except for the state, but there's no property taxes for the state, but just, yeah, they limit us and they don't limit themselves. But all the taxing districts like Starfire, everybody's impacted. City of Boise, City of Meridian don't get impacted because their levy dollar amount is so high that their new construction growth will never catch up to the normal 3% or whatnot that they collect.
So in our 12 districts that impact the citizens of Star,
Mhm.
how many of them were limited or would have been able to
Increase more?
increase more if this were not affected?
Most
And
likely.
were they
With-
all affected?
With the growth that we've had, every one of them would have been able to increase more. Not necessarily a lot more. Well, I lie. Ada County, not necessarily. Because Ada County and West Ada is a little bit different, right? Those school districts. So we'll say probably 10 of those could have increased more because of the growth that we've had. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just,
Yeah.
because I know we're such, in all reality, we're a little bitty piece of our pie.
Right.
But do the citizens understand that? And how do we
So the
share that
citizens,
knowledge?
so the citizens don't necessarily understand that. I've tried to hold some meetings with them on understanding their property taxes. There is a thing that we've done that's recorded, I think, right, Dana, that's on the website about the property tax when I did the classes last year after the state of the city. So if they were to go look at that, they could get that information.
Is there a chance that next week for the presentation, whatever we're calling it, budget meeting, we could do a pie
It is in my packet.
so that that's a slide that we can put on the wall and say,
Yep. That is already
pay
in my
attention to
packet.
how small it we're actually doing.
It is in the
does
packet.
diffuse some of the
Actually, we can
anger
pull it up.
if they recognize we're not the problem here.
Right. And, right. Let me, hang on one sec here.
Well, they're the angry ones. Usually. Yeah,
Maybe he will be the angry
you
one.
could be the angry one.
Let's see here. Oops.
I'm the new guy. I can't be angry. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Let's see. So somewhere, I think we talk about the taxes. Oh, right here. So I give an example. I don't know if you can pull it up, Ryan, or not, but on page 11 of the packet from last year. No, it's on the staridaho.org.
Website.
Yeah, inside the mayor's office. And then go down, go on the right-hand side, I believe. Well, no, just go down to the budget real quick. So I want to show them what we use and then read more on the budget. And then there's the click on that presentation. And then on page 11 of that. And I'll do a similar thing this year with this too.
I just think that's a good
Yep.
public relations.
So that is what we lay it out with all the different taxing districts. And I took two different subdivisions on that. I believe there's only two subdivisions, right? And then I did a business example, two different ones, right? But with the property taxes and where Star falls. Right. They kind of show them that we're only one piece of the pie. It's actually 12 taxing districts south of Highway 44, 11 north of Highway 44. The difference is flood control district 10 is south of Highway 44. Everybody else north doesn't pay that tax. So would that work for you?
That works, but if you can show a
Ralph?
pie,
Okay, I'll do a pie.
I'm a pie guy.
I know.
I
I
just-
saw you at the hometown celebration buying pies.
That
Do
was
it.
for our seniors. It was worth it.
That's right. Okay, I'll do a pie graph. Showing the examples. With this right here, we'll just add that to it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Makes it easy. Okay, any other questions? Miss Jennifer,
No, looks good. Thank you.
if that's it,
Drop the mic. We're done.
we're gonna drop the mic at 7:28 before David, the 7:30 mark.